What is going on, Pretender here, back with another Honkai Star Rail guide. Today I'm here with a full updated guide for the standard character Bronya. Despite the competition, Bronya is still a fantastic action-forward giving character who specializes in buffing damage dealt, gives attack percent, and also crit damage to your ally and teams. So this video is going to be running you over her kit and Eidolons, then taking you over her best Lightcone options, followed by that will be best Relics and best Ornaments, and right after that will be stat recommendations for the main stats and the substats and some goals you want to get. That's all I want to say before I get into the video. If you guys find this video helpful in any way, shape, or form, dropping a like would be greatly appreciated. If you're new or haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell icon for future videos like this, along with all other types of Star Rail content. I have a new channel for a different game you can check in the description below, so be sure to subscribe to that channel too, would be greatly appreciated, and let's get straight into the video. So Bronya is a wind character following the path of harmony. Her basic attack deals wind damage equal to 100% of Bronya's attack to a single enemy. Her skill dispels the debuff from a single ally, allows them to immediately take action, and increases their damage by 66% for a turn. And if you do use the skill on Bronya herself, she cannot immediately take action again. Meaning, so if you do pop the skill on herself, she will get the damage boost, but she will not get the action that the skill does provide. Her ultimate increases the attack of all allies by 55% and increases their crit damage equal to 60% of Bronya's crit damage plus 20% for 2 turns. Her talent allows Bronya to gain an action that will be advanced forward by 30% after using her basic attack, so her next action will be advanced forward by 30% after you do use that basic attack. As for her technique, at the start of the next battle, all allies' attack increases by 15% for 2 turns. Her bonus traces, her A2, crit rate for the basic attack increases to 100%. A4, at the start of the battle, all allies' defenses increase by 20% for 2 turns. And her A6, when Bronya is on the field, all allies deal 10% more damage. Taking a look at her Eidolons, her E1, when using skill, there is a 50% fixed chance of recovering 1 skill point and has a 1-turn cooldown. Meaning when you do pop the skill on someone, you have a 50% chance to potentially not actually consume a skill point, which can help offset her skill point consumption. As Bronya is a SP negative character, so this dupe can be very good. It does have a cooldown, but it's still better than nothing. Her E2 will allow the ally you do buff with their skill have their speed increased by 30% after taking action lasting for 1 turn, and this dupe allows you to do some really nice tuning with speed. When Bronya does provide that buff, she will be given the 30% speed increase with the E2, which will allow for some really powerful tuning you can do. For example, if you build your Bronya with 163 speed, she will have the hyper speed build, but with the E2 you will buff that main DPS or main carry you are using. You build the main carry with just base breakpoint speed, so 134, and now Bronya is going to be applying that 30% speed buff you do get, giving that main carry 164 speed in the end since they now have the 30% E2 buff, effectively making your main DPS a hyper speed along with playing a -1 speed bonus since Bronya will have the 163 speed, while the main DPS will end up having the 164 speed, being hyper speed and -1 speed all together, making it extremely powerful. Bronya's E4 will allow her to gain a follow-up attack that she can launch if an ally character does launch a basic attack on any enemy that has a wind weakness, and it will deal wind damage to the target equal to 80% of her basic attack damage and can only trigger once per turn. And her E6 will increase the damage boost that the effect from the skill does provide by an extra turn. Taking a look at the best Lightcone options you can use for Bronya, the best one is going to be her own signature Lightcone that you can also obtain from the standard banner, as it does give you a 10% increase to energy regeneration rate and regenerates 1 skill point when the wearer uses their ultimate on an ally, and the effect can be triggered once every 2 uses of the wearer's ultimate. When the wearer uses their skill, the next ally taking action except the wearer will deal 30% more damage for 1 turn. So the reason why this Lightcone is extremely good, it does give you a 10% energy regeneration rate, which is going to be really good for Bronya, helping you keep uptime on her ultimate, and overall making it easier to get back. The second part with the skill recovery, it is a bit slow, but it's still something that's going to help you offset her skill point consumption as she is SP negative. So 1 out of every 2 ultimates will help you recover a skill point, making this really good, especially with something like combining it with the E1 can help you manage skill points even better because you have 2 potential ways to offset the skill point consumption, making it overall really good. And the last part of the Lightcone is fully utilized thanks to the fact that the buff you do give from the skill will give that ally another turn anyways, so they are guaranteed to get the 30% more damage increase, so she's able to effectively use every single part of this Lightcone, making it her best option. Another one you can use is actually the new character Sunday's signature Lightcone. It's not going to be the greatest as it does kind of want the wearer to also have a single target ultimate, but hers is AoE for team buffing rather than just being one like Sunday. But taking a look at what it does, after the wearer uses skill or ultimate on 1 ally character, the wearer regenerates 6 energy and the ability targets receive 1 stack of him for 3 turns, stacking up to 3 times, and each stack of him increases the holder's damage dealt by 15%. Every 2 instances of skill or ultimate the wearer uses on 1 ally character recovers 1 skill point. So unfortunately, like I said, this is gonna obviously benefit someone like Sunday as it's a signature Lightcone. So Sunday has a skill that buffs 1 ally character and an ultimate that buffs 1 ally character, so he's able to easily make use of these effects. Bronya, unfortunately, she can't use 2, she can only use 1 as the skill is a single target buff, so you're still able to make use of this Lightcone, albeit less and a bit slower. That doesn't make it a weak option, it's still an option you definitely can use. You will get the last part with the skill point recovery slower, but it still works. The stacks of him will be a bit slow as well, but it is still a nice damage that you can get for the DPS you're buffing, and the extra energy you are able to get is also going to help you get your ult back a decent amount, making it a overall good option you still can use. Another fantastic option is Past and Future, as it's practically slightly better than the Bronya Lightcone's last part, where when the wearer uses their skill, the next ally taking action except the wearer deals 16% increased damage for 1 turn, and at S5 that's 30%. It is practically just a worse version of a signature because at S5 it has a 2% more of the skill buff, and once again, our skill gives that ally another turn anyway, so you're able to fully utilize this and also Bronya's signature Lightcone. It is worse as it does not provide the energy, it doesn't give that extra skill point you can get, but it is still a fantastic option because it's a really nice damage increase, making it another fantastic option you can use. A situational one is Dance Dance Dance, which gives you a 16% action forward when the wearer uses their ultimate for all your allies, and at S5 that becomes a 24% action forward. This is really good for especially fast teams and fast tunings that you actually tune around this Lightcone specifically. Do note though, if you have specific speed tunings, this Lightcone can mess it up if you don't account for it, so definitely make sure you do account for it. And if you do some fast stuff, specifically fast tunings tailored towards the Dance 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 Lightcone, it becomes a very powerful option, but if it's going to mess up your speed tunings, then it loses its value by a lot. Another option you can use is the Planetary Rendezvous Lightcone, as it does give you a 12% damage dealt increase for anyone that is the same type as the wearer, and at S5 that becomes 24%. So this is conditional. The main DPS and the main DPS you're going to be buffing is going to need to be wind, since if they're not wind, they're not going to be able to utilize the effect of the Lightcone, effectively making it useless. But if you are pairing her with someone like Feixiao or Blade, then you're going to be able to use this Lightcone, and then it becomes a good option. Otherwise, it is an option you would avoid. So if you are taking her with a wind DPS, then it will be an option you can use. Otherwise, you would ignore it. For the best relic options for Bronya, the best one is going to be the new Relieved Ordeal set, as the 2-piece does give you a 6% speed increase, and the 4-piece, when using the skill or ultimate on 1 target ally, increases the ability target's crit damage by 18% for 2 turns, stacking up to 2 times. So as an ultimate, once again, buffs the entire team rather than 1 ally. It will take you a bit longer as opposed to using the set on someone like Sunday, but since their skill is still buffing 1 ally, you're going to be able to stack up the second set fast enough to get the big increase, giving you up to 36% increase to crit damage for that ally you're buffing, which is really good. On top of that, the 2-piece giving you the speed increase is going to be really beneficial to whatever speed tuning you're doing. So if you're just doing to get her to 134 speed and having a DPS to 135 speed, this is going to help with that. If you're doing a 163-ish speed and having your DPS at 134 speed, but you have the E2 Bronya to give them all the up speed there, it's going to help you a lot there as well. So the 2-piece is very good, making the 4-piece overall the best option you can use. Another set you can do is 4-piece of Hackerspace, which has the same 2-piece as the Relieved Ordeal set with the 6% speed increase. And the 4-piece, when the wearer uses their ultimate on an ally, it will increase speed by 12% for all allies for a turn and cannot be stacked. So this is just a nice little thing that can help you get a little less speed needed on your team, or specific tunings that this might help with as well. Just do note, if you do have specific tunings in place, this can potentially mess with it as well, so be sure to account for that. Otherwise, this is another option you can use. And another more niche yet very good option potentially is 4-piece of the Eagle set, which 2-piece increases wind damage by 10%, but you're mainly using it for the buffing portion of her kit. This can be used if you have something like the E4, then the damage will be increased, so that's nice. Or you're doing a setup where it's something like skill basic with the 160 speed Bronya to get the actual offsetting the skill points that you would be using, but mainly for the 4-piece, which gives you the 25% action forward when you do use your ultimate. So this is really good for speed tunings and super high speed Bronyas in order to achieve stuff like 3 turns in a cycle. If you're aiming for that plus dance, all that stuff, again, be sure to note down any speed tunings and make sure you tailor that towards accounting for something like Eagle as well. Otherwise, it can mess up your rotations a lot, but it's usually going to be used for dance setups or just setups in general that will help you achieve 3 turns in a cycle. And if you are aiming for that, then Eagle is the best option you can do overall. And then past that, it's practically just combining 2-piece and 2-piece. So you could do 2-piece speed if you don't have many speed rolls on your relics, or you're trying to achieve a high speed with the E2 combination or just a hyper speed in general. Or you could combine 2-piece speed with 2-piece of one of the survivability sets, so you could do 2-piece of the guard set for less damage taken. You could also do 2-piece of the knight set for the defense increase, so you can be more tanky. Overall, the best option is still going to be doing 4-piece of the relieved ordeal set. Or if you're doing super high speed and trying to achieve those kind of crazy 3 turns in a cycle rotations, then Eagle 4-piece is going to be great. 4-piece Hackerspace, if you account for the speed tuning, is going to be also a really fantastic option you can use. Otherwise, mainly recommended would be 2-piece speed, 2-piece speed. But if you really can't do any of those, then 2-piece speed, 2-piece of one of the survivability sets work. And that also does include the 2-piece that gives you 12% max HP. For the Planar Ornaments, so there's a lot of options you do have. The overall best one should be Broken Kill because it does give you a 10% effect res increase. And when you have 30% or higher effect res increase, it gives everyone 10% crit damage on your team, which also includes Bronya, which is also going to increase the buff you get from the ultimate. So this is not only buffing your team, but it'll also increase her crit damage, which will increase her buff, making it a really good option overall. But if you don't want to use Broken Kill, you could also just go with Ageless, as it gives you 12% max HP for survivability, and when you do have 120 speed or higher, which on Bronya for the most part, no matter what speed tuning you're doing, will, all allies gain 8% attack. So this is just a nice little buff you can get as well. Another option you can do is the new Lushaka set, which gives you 5% energy regeneration rate. And if the wearer is not the first character in the team lineup, then you gain a 12% attack increase for that character that is the first in the team lineup. So if you're running a DPS that will benefit from attack percent, this is great. On top of that, gives you energy regeneration rate for your Bronya, making this a fantastic option as well. And similar to the Planetary Rendezvous Lightcone, the Penacony set for the same reasons is good, as it does give you a 5% energy regeneration rate, so she could benefit off that, and will increase damage for all other allies that are the same type as the wearer by 10%. So same thing as I said for the Planetary Rendezvous Lightcone, you will need to run her with another wind DPS that is a main DPS, so Feixiao or Blade, and so on. Otherwise, you're better off running something like Lushaka if you want the energy regeneration rate, because then the entire Planar Ornament doesn't really do much. And another more specific one you can actually do is Von Walk, as it gives you a 5% energy regeneration rate. And when you have 120 speed or higher, you gain a 40% action forward immediately upon entering battle. This is really good for specific speed stuff and also helps you go practically first every single time in battle, helping you set up, helping you gain energy as fast as possible. With the energy regeneration rate increase, it can also help you gain ult back faster and just gain it for the first time faster, and can also be something you do use to achieve something like 3 cycles in a rotation, as Von Walk can benefit on those type of builds as well. But overall, this is more of a specific kind of thing. You're better off for the most part running one of the other ones for a more supportive setup, but this can help you set up really quickly, or help you achieve some really quick turns and help out with specific tunings. So similar to the Eagle set or Dance the Stats Lightcone, this is a niche option that can be very powerful depending on what you're doing. For the main stats on the Relics, for the body you want to have crit damage, as it's going to increase the buff you are able to get from the ultimate. For the feet you want speed, for the orb you want HP percent or defense percent, and for the link rope you want energy regeneration rate. For the substats, you want to get speed as much as possible to achieve a -1 speed build, which is going to be really good. Or you could opt for doing a hyper speed, specifically with Bronya, because she does have the action advance she's able to gain from her talent. So doing a rotation something like skill basic, skill basic, skill basic is very powerful with Bronya, as it does help you offset the usage of skill points, as once again Bronya is skill point negative. So a 160 plus speed on Bronya is also extremely powerful, but -1 speed is still good. And another tuning is having plus 160 speed. So having, once again, I already mentioned this with the dupe when I was talking about the Eidolons themselves, but having something like a 163 speed Bronya and a 134 speed hyper carry. With the E2, you give them the 30% speed increase when you do buff them, so now your main DPS is going to have 164 speed, which will not only have Bronya on the hyperspeed build, but will also have her on the -1 speed build at the same time, making it extremely powerful. Past that is more crit damage to further amplify her buff. And then another thing you want to consider is, if you are using Broken Kill, you want to make sure you hit the 30% effect res to make the ornament actually work. And then anything past that is just survivability stats, so HP percent, defense, all of that good stuff. So once again, speed to match the kind of tuning you are interested in or you are aiming for, then more crit damage to further amplify her buff. Equal to that priority is getting the effect res, so you are able to hit the Broken Kill requirement if you are running Broken Kill, so once again 30%, and anything past that is just survivability stats. Yep, that is the full build guide for Bronya. Once again, if you guys found the video helpful, dropping a like would be greatly appreciated. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell icon for future videos like this, along with all other types of Star Owl videos. And yep, once again, hope you guys found the video helpful. Peace out.